Hello, my name is Dorian Hoggabook, and today I will be reviewing Lift Every Voice, the NAACP, and the Making of the Civil Rights Movement by Patricia Sullivan. The first thing that catches my attention about this work is the title of the book, which is reminiscent of the Black National Anthem entitled Lift Every Voice and Sing. And so it is very indicative of the call to action that is needed in the formation of the NAACP as well as their role in the civil rights movement. And I believe that Sullivan uses this title as a foreshadowing and as a familiar moniker that many historians would be familiar with, or in the sense that it is a tie to the culture of African Americans, especially during the tough times of the civil rights movement. So I do think that the title is used as a foreshadowing for what the book will try to lay out and prove and what Sullivan seeks to argue. And so the NAACP is a familiar name. It's a household name given its significance in the civil rights movement. Um, and so she does define that it is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And it is very key that they do not use Negro as was common with other organizations during the time because they wanted it to be for all people of color. They didn't want to limit it to Negroes or Black people at the time. And so that really came into view with their alignment with other races, as well as making this an interracial organization, which played a great part in their success. Um, the central thesis that I was able to pull from Sullivan's work is the role of the NAACP in the legal structure at the time. Many of their, or much of their work was done through various legal proceedings. Obviously, one that's known and um, that she highlights in her work is Brown v. Education, because it was a notable legal proceeding as well as the eventual outcome of it to say that separate but equal was not equal, which Plessy versus Ferguson did say, but later Brown versus Board of Education overturned. And so I believe that's the most important thing that we can pull from this is that the NAACP was the legal structure, or rather, proponents of using the legal structure to make the change that they needed socially, which is quite different from many other organizations who were trying to make the social changes, but did not have the voice to make the legal changes, which also brings us back to the interracial structure of the NAACP. And so, with a diverse membership, even though it was majority African American, it did allow the inclusion, and making it an interracial organization did allow for them to have a larger mark on the legal proceedings and the lawsuits that they sought. And as far as in historiographical, I believe that the impact of the NAACP is paramount to the study of the African American civil rights in the United States. Their influence cannot be forgotten or underestimated, even if the NAACP is a known name, or rather, it's an organization that many people know by name. They may not know the history or the origins of the NAACP, or they may not know that it was such a interracial and combining structure, that is what Sullivan is proving. And what I found very interesting and what has a historiographical element is it that she did do the chronological organization, as as in this is how they began, these are the key players, but she also was sure to include the criticism. And so there was criticism, of course, from other races, but she included criticism from within the African American race, and large names such as Booker T. Washington, who was at odds with founding members such as W.E.B. Du Bois, because they had differences on the role of African Americans in the society or the means to the same end. The They wanted equality, but the means to that end is where they diverged. And so I believe that she provides a very rounded view of the progression that the NAACP is able to achieve, but also she does include that criticism that was prevalent during that time, as well as the criticism that would have affected their decision making, affected the members who were a part of the NAACP, affected how the NAACP was viewed in different media outlets, as well as how it was accepted in the community. So, on a historical graphical scale, I believe that she does a very good job of creating a larger picture of the origin of a powerful organization, but also not painting a picture that paints it as um, complete unity. Even just as with most organizations, there is disunity, there's criticism, and how the organization responds to that is how it will be successful or unsuccessful. Um, and so, my final takeaway from this is that I learned more about the NAACP, but more specifically, I learned more about prominent members of the civil rights movement and how they were either against or for the NAACP during the various stages that it took in its prominence. And so it is still an active organization today. And I do believe that this work by Sullivan will encourage more people to look into the current things that the NAACP does have going at this time. Thank you.